Have you ever had a moment of intuition, a gut feeling that turned out to be uncannily accurate? Or perhaps a dream that seemed to predict a future event? For centuries, we've dismissed these experiences as mere coincidence. But what if they were pointing to something much deeper about the nature of reality and our own consciousness? Today, we're diving into the mind-bending world of non-local reality and exploring the radical idea that your consciousness might not be confined to the space between your ears. For the longest time, the mainstream scientific view has been pretty straightforward. The brain, this incredibly complex 3-pound organ, produces consciousness. Neurons fire, chemicals are released, and somehow, out of this biological symphony, our subjective experience of being alive emerges. This is the local model of consciousness. It's tangible, it's measurable, and it fits neatly into our classical understanding of physics. But here's the catch. This model is starting to show some serious cracks. It struggles to explain phenomena that many of us experience. Things that feel real, but don't fit into a world where everything is separate, and cause and effect is strictly linear. This is where things get truly exciting and a little weird. Let's travel back to the early days of quantum mechanics. Physicists like Einstein, Podolsky, and Rosen stumbled upon a phenomenon so bizarre. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance. This is quantum entanglement. Imagine you have two particles that are linked. No matter how far apart you separate them across a room or across the galaxy, what happens to one particle instantaneously affects the other. There's no signal traveling between them, no hidden message. They are connected in a way that transcends space and time. This is non-locality. It's a fundamental property of our universe, proven time and time again in countless experiments. The universe, at its most basic level, is interconnected. So, what does this have to do with your consciousness? Well, a growing number of pioneering scientists and thinkers are asking a bold question. If the universe is fundamentally non-local and interconnected, why would we assume that consciousness, arguably the most profound phenomenon in the universe, is purely local? This is the heart of the non-local consciousness theory. It proposes that our brains don't necessarily create consciousness from scratch. Instead, they might act more like antennas or receivers, tuning into a universal field of consciousness that permeates everything. Your individual consciousness isn't an isolated island. It's a wave in a vast, interconnected ocean. Think about it this way. A television set doesn't create the show you're watching. It receives broadcast signals that are already present in the environment and translates them into picture and sound. If you smash the TV, the show doesn't cease to exist. You've just broken the receiver. Similarly, brain damage can alter or impair our conscious experience. But that doesn't necessarily mean the brain is the sole source. It could just mean the receiver is damaged. This model helps explain a lot of things that the classical brain-as generator model struggles with. Take, for example, near-death experiences. Thousands of people have reported incredibly vivid and structured experiences while being clinically dead with no measurable brain activity. They often report observing their own resuscitation from a vantage point outside their bodies, seeing and hearing things that are later verified as accurate. How is this possible if consciousness is purely a product of a functioning brain? Another fascinating area is remote viewing. This was a subject of serious, government-funded research for decades, like the Stargate project. In these controlled experiments, individuals were able to accurately describe distant, unknown locations, shielded from all conventional senses. While the results were often complex and debated, the statistical significance in many studies was too high to be dismissed as mere chance. It suggested that consciousness could, under certain conditions, access information non-locally, transcending the physical limitations of the body. Then there are the countless anecdotal but powerful stories of telepathy between loved ones, especially twins, or the sudden, inexplicable knowing of a distant tragedy. The non-local model doesn't just dismiss these as quirks. It sees them as potential expressions of our inherent interconnectedness. Let's be clear, this is still a frontier of science. It challenges our deepest assumptions about who we are and our place in the cosmos. The idea that our minds are not separate, but part of a larger, unified whole is both humbling and empowering. It suggests that our thoughts, our intentions, and our feelings might have a reach far beyond our physical bodies. This isn't just an abstract philosophical idea, it has profound implications for our daily lives. If we are all connected, then empathy, compassion, and kindness aren't just social niceties. They are fundamental reflections of reality. The harm we do to others or to our planet is, in a very real sense, harm we do to ourselves. Conversely, Acts of love and healing can ripple outwards in ways we may not fully comprehend. This perspective also reframes our search for meaning and purpose. If consciousness is fundamental, then we aren't just accidental byproducts of a random, lifeless universe. We are integral participants in a conscious cosmos. Our experiences, our growth, and our awareness contribute to the whole. Suddenly, practices like meditation and mindfulness take on a new dimension. They aren't just techniques for stress reduction, they are methods for quieting the noise of the individual receiver, the ego, the chattery mind, to better tune into the broader, universal signal. They are a way to directly experience our own non-local nature. Now, it's important to approach this with a blend of open-mindedness and critical thinking. The non-local consciousness hypothesis is not yet mainstream, and much more research is needed. But science has always progressed by challenging existing paradigms. We once believed the Earth was the center of the universe. We once believed that time and space were absolute. Every great leap forward has involved a radical shift in perspective. The exploration of non-local consciousness may be the next great leap. It bridges the gap between the spiritual wisdom of ancient traditions, which have long spoken of a unified consciousness, and the cutting-edge discoveries of modern physics. It suggests that the mystics and the physicists, looking at reality from opposite ends, may be converging on the same ultimate truth. We are all connected. So, the next time you have a flash of intuition, a powerful sense of connection with another person, or a dream that feels more real than reality, pause for a moment. Don't just dismiss it. Consider the possibility that you are tapping into the deeper, interconnected fabric of the universe. You are not just a brain in a body. You are a focal point of a universal consciousness experiencing itself through you. And that is a truly revolutionary thought. What do you think? Have you had an experience that challenges the idea of a purely brain-based consciousness? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. This is a conversation that's just getting started, and every perspective adds to our collective understanding. It behaves strangely. Time perception distorts. Identity dissolves under certain conditions. The sense of self disappears entirely in some states, yet awareness remains. This is deeply uncomfortable for a material framework, because it suggests that consciousness is not identical to the narrative. Self, not identical to memory, not identical to identity. It suggests that awareness is more fundamental than the person experiencing it. This is where non-locality becomes unavoidable. If reality itself is a single, deeply connected system, then consciousness may not be something you have. It may be something you participate in. The sense of being a separate observer may be a functional illusion, a useful interface, much like objects and distance. This does not erase individuality, it reframes it. Just as waves appear separate on the surface of an ocean, yet are expressions of the same underlying water. Conscious experience may appear individual while emerging from a shared foundation. This does not require mysticism, it requires consistency. A non-local universe cannot suddenly become local when it produces awareness. That would be incoherent. If physics tells us that separation is not fundamental, then consciousness cannot be fundamentally separate either. This has consequences. It means that awareness is not trapped inside your skull. It means that experience is not isolated from the universe. It means that observation is participation, not detachment. This reframes ethics, responsibility, meaning. If consciousness is relational, then actions ripple deeper than behavior. They alter the structure of interaction itself. The universe is not watching you, it is responding with you. This is why these ideas remain on the margins, not because they are unscientific, but because they are destabilizing. They dissolve the illusion of isolation that modern culture depends on. They blur the line between subject and object. They suggest that understanding reality also requires understanding ourselves as part of it. This is not comfortable knowledge. Comfort comes from distance, from objectivity, from pretending we are not involved. But a non-local universe offers no such refuge. You are not standing outside reality looking in. You are embedded in it. Your awareness is not a byproduct of the universe. It is one of its expressions, and once this is understood, the question is no longer what consciousness is. The question becomes, what kind of universe produces experience at all? That question has no simple answer, but it has a direction, and it points away from separation, away from reduction, and towards something far more connected than we were ever taught to imagine. This is not the end of the mystery, it is the point where the mystery finally becomes unavoidable. This is Inside Vault.